Welcome to Let the Quran Speak. I'm Sophia, your host. We're here in the main prayer hall of the Islamic Information Center, home of Let the Quran Speak. The Toronto Star recently featured several articles on the mainstreaming of mean, our age of nastiness, deceit, and malice. Are we getting meaner because of social media? Have we always been this way? What sort of negative effects does the culture of meanness have on us? We speak with Dr. Shabir Ali, president of the Islamic Information Center, on how religion, with its emphasis on respect and kindness, can pull us back from the brink. Brother Shabir, the article in the Toronto Star was pretty eye-opening. In it, there were many experts who were quoted saying many different things about meanness. Barbara Colarosa, for example, said we are swimming in a culture of mean. Can you tell me what your thoughts are on the article and on those comments?
Vijay Menon's article is, as you said, eye-opening. It documents a number of instances where in popular TV shows and other sorts of entertainment, we find an increase in the level of meanness. Mm-hmm. It looks like this is celebrated, and it's, if one appears to be mean, then this helps them to get ahead in show business. Mm-hmm. So this is having its effect on the general populace. That's quite visible. We can see that people, for example, in their responses to comments on the web, are getting meaner and meaner. Mm-hmm. And this causes me to reflect on our Islamic teachings, where the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, is reported to have said that kindness is never added to a thing except that it beautifies it. And, or to put it in a different way, whenever kindness is added to something, kindness beautifies that thing, and whenever it is removed, that thing lacks a certain luster. Mm-hmm.
So why do you think we're getting so mean? I mean, one thing quoted in the article was a YouTube clip about the hurricane, the typhoon in the Philippines, and the comments were so mean and hurtful. And they often seem to have no point, just to be mean.
Yes.
So what's going on there?
Yeah, we would expect that in response to a clip showing the devastation in the Philippines, people would be expressing their sympathy. Mm-hmm. I mean, if you can't give money, if you cannot help in any other way, at least you can say a kind word. The Quran, reflecting on this, well, more generally, says, قَوْلٌ مَعْرُوفٌ وَمَغْفِرَةٌ خَيْرٌ مِّن سَرَقَةٍ يَتْبَعُهَا أَذًى. A kind word and forgiveness is better than that charity which is followed by harm. Mm-hmm. Where you give charity to somebody and then you harm the person or hurt the person, perhaps by the frequent mentioning of the fact that you're giving them charity. Elsewhere in the Quran, we are enjoined وَقُولُوا لِلنَّاسِ حُسْنًا, and speak to people kindly. And this is a covenant that God said that He made with the people of Israel. So this is an ancient teaching, it's a biblical Quranic teaching that is being emphasized. So given this sort of background, the emphasis in religion on kindness, mm-hmm. one now looks at some of the comments that were linked to that YouTube clip, and one is shocked to see that people are saying, yeah, those people deserve that, or something to that effect. Mm-hmm. And they use foul words to boot. And when things are said in a mean way, adding foul words to it just makes it seem so much meaner. Mm-hmm. And we see this kind of use of foul language very pervasive in modern times, especially in entertainment. When somebody wants to tell off somebody, he uses this kind of very vulgar language in telling off the other person, and it just seems to increase the level of meanness in what is being said.
What's interesting is that we live in an age in which human rights is very prominent. We understand that we should treat people with respect and dignity, and we should be tolerant towards other people. And at the same time, meanness seems to be spiking. So what's going on? Some people have said this is a response to political correctness, that we're too politically correct, but people have all of these racist and sexist ideas simmering under the surface. Do you think that's what's happening?
That could be part of it. Another part of it is that the internet now allows people to work from a position of anonymity. They just have an email address, or they have some sort of Twitter account or something, and that allows them to not publish their names or identify themselves in any way that will be known to the recipients of their messages, and that gives them the cover from which to shoot off all kinds of messages, which perhaps they wanted to say in public, but you're right, their messages would not be accepted in the public if they are racist or sexist or otherwise politically incorrect.
Or hateful in some way.
Yeah, so they keep these bottled up inside, and then the outlet for that is the internet, where they can assume this cover of anonymity and say whatever they want to say.
And it's instant, it's far-reaching, it doesn't get erased easily. All of these things allow one to be very mean to other people.
Yes, and of course it is these sort of mean comments that get more attention. If you say things in an ordinary way, it's not sensational, it does not capture the attention of people, it just goes by smoothly and almost unnoticed. But it's the mean comments and the unusual, it is the racist comment, it is the sexist comment and otherwise politically incorrect comment that catches the attention of people. And if one is out there looking for attention, such as Luca Magnotta, who was trying to buy his way into fame by killing and publicizing his killing, well, this is the avenue that people are choosing to capture the attention of others for their own self-gratification.
Another feature of the article was this emphasis on the fact that sarcasm has become pretty cool. And the idea that we live in a very snarky culture. You know, we have all these late night shows where people are attacking other political figures or other public figures. So it's cool to do that. It's hot to do that. Everybody wants to do that. So can you comment on that a little bit? How that affects our idea, or how that affects how we see other people?
Yeah, it definitely has that effect when we see this being so pervasive. There's so many of these shows which use satire as their main forte. Then definitely the people watching these shows one after another start to develop the same way of looking at things, the same way of dealing with people. And we are now becoming more distant from individuals in relationships. We are connected more to technology and less connected to people. In the past, we had to speak to people face to face all of the time, or not at all. And that meant looking at the other person's facial reactions, seeing the effects of our words, whether our words can cause the other person to smile or to frown, whether our words are hurtful, and we can see the pain in the eyes of the other person. Well, now, because we do not have this face-to-face communication so much anymore, what it means is that we do not feel the effect of our words. We can say things without measuring the reaction of the other person until the other person sends us an email to complain about the way we said things. And sometimes we will never know the reaction. We'll never know how much hurt and pain our words might be causing other people. It said that sticks and stones will break my bones, but words will never hurt me, but words in fact do hurt. And sometimes we find that someone commits suicide because of the amount of painful things that have been said about such persons on the internet. And once, as you said, once a thing is put out there, it's hard to retract it. And people have said some very nasty things, like, for example, about the girl who drove her dad's Porsche, and she got into an accident and she was killed. People have taken pictures of her and of her in the dead state with her head severed from her body, and
sent it to the family.
Yeah, sent it to the family with rude messages such as, you know, I'm still alive, or something like this, to taunt and haunt the family. All of these are manifestations of this rise in the level of meanness that we need to take account of. I
guess with social media, it's easier to spread rumors, to backstab, to gossip. Can you comment on that as well?
Well, the gossip industry is something that is thriving. I mean, you go to the supermarket to buy your milk, eggs, and bread, and while you're at the checkout counter, you get your eye full of magazines touting gossips about celebrities. And this seems to be a part of our modern culture. Yeah, we need to know what these celebrities are doing, who is marrying whom, and who is sleeping with whom, and who has whose baby, and all of this kind of nonsense that is going on. So that becomes now a preoccupation of people. And if we can delight ourselves, entertain ourselves by talking about the celebrities who we otherwise love and who we adore in other ways, then what about the other person down the street? So naturally, the other person down the street becomes the target of our gossip as well. And we just feed on this way of gratifying ourselves, whereas in our religion, we are being taught that we should not get into this. In the 49th chapter of the Quran, Surah Al-Hujurat, we are addressed where the Quran says there, La yaskhar qawmun min qawm. Let not a people deride another people. Let not some people deride some others, and so on. Do not spy on each other. Do not call each other by hurtful nicknames, and so on. All of these are instructions that are there in religion, and people will do well to reclaim some of the religious teachings which have been so long neglected.
Do you think we can step back from that culture of meanness? Is it possible?
Well, to a large extent, it seems that this is like a juggernaut. It keeps going and there is no stopping it, but that does not mean that every individual needs to be caught up in it in the same way. Some individuals can step aside from that general flow and say, yes, I don't need to be like everybody else. I can be different. I can uphold good moral principles, and maybe I'll become an example for others. Maybe I step aside now, and then another person is influenced to step aside, and eventually that strong flow is not so strong anymore.
Thank you for that, Brother Shabir.
You're welcome.
We'll take a break, and when we return, a Muslim approach to the Gospels.